All right, let's dive into this Duck River Nature Trail project, specifically stages 2 and 3.
Sounds good.
And what's cool is stage 2 needs your input, like right now.
Oh,
So
wow.
we'll make sure you have all the info you need to make your voice heard.
That's exciting.
Okay, so for anyone just tuning in for the first time, the Duck River Nature Trail, it's planned as a 4.5-kilometer cycling and walking path
Wow, 4.5 kilometers.
connecting Silverwater Park to the M4 Cycleway. And it's really all about making it easier and safer for people to get around
Absolutely.
without having to rely on their cars and really just making the most of those beautiful natural areas along the river.
I think that's really important these days,
Oh, totally.
especially with, the climate and sustainability and everything.
Yeah, and I think that kind of leads into this next point. It's not just about leisure. This trail actually aligns with some important local and state government policies,
That's right.
like the Parramatta Bike Plan and the Greater Sydney Commission's Green Grid.
I was reading about that.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
interesting. So it's not just a nice idea.
Yeah.
It's really part of a larger effort to make our city more sustainable and connected.
That's a great point.
So the project is divided into 3 stages.
Yeah.
Stage 1, which focuses on Silverwater Park that's already approved and moving forward.
Right.
But stage 2 is where things get really interesting. And this is where your input is needed right now.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Okay, so stage 2, it's all about connecting that existing park to the future heart of the trail, which is going to be along the river.
Makes sense.
And without it, the whole trail could end up being really fragmented and less accessible.
Right.
And it really focuses on that eastern bank of the river,
Okay.
specifically those streets in Silverwater where direct access to the foreshore is kind of limited.
I was looking at those streets on the map.
Yeah,
Yeah, it seems like it would be tricky to get to the river.
totally. And that's the goal of stage 2,
Right.
is to make those streets safe and enjoyable for both pedestrians and cyclists
Okay.
to travel along.
Right.
And they're going to be using things like separated bike paths,
That's
footpaths, street trees, better lighting, and raised priority crossings.
great.
But here's where the community comes in.
All right.
There are 2 options that are proposed for how to upgrade those streets,
Okay.
specifically north of Holker Street.
Right.
And they want your feedback on which one you prefer.
Makes sense.
So let's break down these options a little bit.
Okay.
Option 1 involves repurposing some of the on-street parking on 5 streets. I know parking can be a sensitive issue,
Why, totally.
but they have done their homework, and they believe there's enough spare capacity based on the surveys they've done.
Okay, so they've really thought this through.
Yeah, they've really thought it through.
That's good.
Option 2 aims to retain all of the existing parking on Picken and Blaxland streets
Okay.
by making Picken Street one-way southbound and Blaxland Street one-way eastbound.
Okay, so I kind of redirecting the traffic a little bit.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So this would mean repurposing fewer parking spaces overall.
Yeah, so both options are kind of going for the same goal, just different ways of getting there.
Exactly. Smooth and safe movement for everyone, whether you're walking, cycling, or driving.
It's good that they're giving people a choice,
Absolutely.
encouraging them to have a say.
Yeah, and it's great that they're doing that because this is a crucial stage in the project.
Right.
And your feedback really can influence that final design.
That's great.
So the community consultation period is open right now, and it runs until 5 p.m. on Tuesday, March 18th, 2025.
Wow, that's coming up.
It is coming up.
Plenty of time to have your say, though.
Yeah, there's plenty of time, so don't worry if you haven't already gotten involved.
Yeah.
There are several ways that you can provide your input. So there's an interactive map where you can actually drop pins and leave comments.
Oh, cool.
There's an online submission form, email, post, and even verbal submissions.
Wow, so every possible option.
Yeah, they're really trying to make it as accessible as possible for people to have a say.
I love that.
And there's also 2 pop-up sessions happening in Silverwater Park
Okay.
on February 15th and 26th, where you can actually chat with council officers.
That's a great opportunity.
Yeah, so if you have any burning questions or you just want to get a bit more detail about the project,
Right.
those pop-up sessions are definitely worth checking out.
Awesome.
So if you're passionate about this trail and you want to see it succeed,
Yeah,
now is the time to get involved and make your voice heard.
I agree.
And while stage 2 is the immediate focus, let's take a peek into the future and talk about stage 3, which is planned for completion in 2028.
Okay, let's do it.
And this is where the Duck River Nature Trail really comes to life,
Ooh,
along the river itself.
I'm excited for this one.
Me too.
Yeah.
So imagine strolling along those boardwalks, hugging the foreshore,
Oh, that sounds so nice.
taking in those scenic views, and maybe even spotting some local wildlife.
Yeah.
They're also planning a brand new bridge to span Duck Creek,
Great.
connecting to Camellia on the western side of the river.
That sounds like a game changer.
It really does.
Huh.
I'm already picturing, those leisurely weekend bike rides along the trail, stopping for picnics by the river, maybe doing a bit of bird watching.
That sounds like a dream.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of bird watching, Stage 3 will pass through some areas rich in biodiversity,
Oh, wow.
including mangrove and salt marsh communities.
Cool.
And they've done a lot of research to understand the ecological importance of this area.
Okay.
For instance, did you know those wetlands within the Duck River, they actually provide a habitat for 3 endangered ecological communities
Wow.
and several threatened species.
I did not know that.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So we're not just talking about a pretty trail here.
Right.
We're talking about protecting a vital piece of the local ecosystem.
That's incredible.
What else did they find out?
Well, they recorded all sorts of fascinating wildlife in the area.
Like what?
Well, possums,
Possums? Okay.
various birds, including budgerigars
Wow.
and satin bower birds,
Yeah.
frogs, reptiles like the water skink.
Okay.
Even orchids are expected to bloom there in late winter.
Oh, wow.
It's a nature lover's paradise.
Okay. Now I'm picturing leisurely walks with occasional possum sightings.
That's the dream.
This trail just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're taking that environmental impact very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Environmental considerations are a top priority
Okay.
throughout this entire project.
Good.
So for Stage 1, they conducted a review of environmental factors, or REF, to assess the potential impacts and outline some mitigation measures.
Oh, wow.
And for the later stages, including Stage 3, they're going even further by commissioning a full environmental impact statement, or EIS.
That's even more in-depth.
Yeah, and that's a much more comprehensive assessment,
Right.
which really shows their commitment to doing things right.
Yeah, they're not messing around.
Now, they're not messing around.
Good.
So they're really trying to minimize their footprint
Yeah.
and ensure the trail enhances that natural beauty of the Duck River.
Rather than harming it.
That's a really delicate balance.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it's great to see that level of care and attention to detail. They even brought in specialists to document plant and animal species,
Wow.
identify any protection zones, and specify construction methods that minimize impact.
So they're thinking about all the angles.
Exactly.
So-
It's inspiring to see a project that brings together so many positive elements. Community engagement,
Yeah.
environmental consciousness, health and well-being, and smart urban planning.
I love that.
It's about so much more than just a trail.
Yeah.
It's about creating a healthier, more connected,
Yeah.
and more vibrant community.
That's awesome.
Now let's talk about one of the challenges they're facing with Stage 2, and it involves trucks.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
What's going on with the trucks?
So that narrowness of Shaft Street,
Okay.
it's proving to be a bit of a headache for those longer vehicles.
Yeah.
Anything exceeding the length of a standard 19-meter semi-trailer.
Wow. That's pretty long. And so to address this, they're looking at implementing some turn restriction
Right.
for those larger trucks
Makes sense?
to ensure smooth traffic flow
Yeah.
and safety for everyone.
Absolutely.
Could you give us some examples of these proposed restrictions?
Yeah, so if you're heading eastbound on Holker Street, you wouldn't be able to turn left onto Shaft Street.
Okay.
Similarly, eastbound traffic on River Street wouldn't be allowed to turn right onto Shaft Street.
Gotcha.
And if you're driving a longer truck northbound on Shaft Street, you wouldn't be able to turn left onto River Street.
Okay, so they're really trying to anticipate any potential traffic issues
Yeah,
and find solutions that work for everyone.
that's good.
And these proposed turn restrictions will be discussed at the Parramatta Traffic Committee meeting in April.
Okay.
So if you have strong feelings about those, you might want to make your voice heard before then.
Yeah, that's a great point. Being informed and engaged throughout the process is essential.
Absolutely. And speaking of getting involved, let's circle back to Stage 2 and those street upgrades, because your input is needed now
Right.
to ensure this entire trail project comes together seamlessly.
You're absolutely right. This is your chance to help shape the future of this incredible trail.
So, dear listener, before we move on, what stands out to you about this project? What aspects of the trail are you most excited about? And what are your thoughts on those proposed options for Stage 2?
Remember, if you want to be a part of making this vision a reality,
Yes.
now is the time to get involved, especially with Stage 2.
You heard it here, folks.
Go for it.
Head to the project website, attend one of those pop-up sessions, or submit your feedback online.
Do it.
Your input can really help shape the future of this trail.
Absolutely.
Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into the Duck River Nature Trail project,
Okay.
I want to leave you with one final thought.
Right.
We've talked about all those tangible benefits,
Mm.
the improved infrastructure,
Right.
the environmental protections,
Yeah.
the health benefits.
Yeah.
But what about the intangible?
Yeah, that's a good point. What about those less tangible things?
I love where you're going with this. What are you thinking?
Well, just imagine that sense of community that could come out of this.
Oh, yeah.
People meeting their neighbors during a morning walk or,
Yeah.
families having picnics by the river or
That's nice.
kids learning about the ecosystem firsthand.
It really does have the potential to become a hub for the community.
Yeah,
A place where people connect and just share experiences.
totally. And think about the inspiration it could spark.
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe it encourages people to get more active, explore new parts of their neighborhood,
Yeah.
or just appreciate nature a little bit more.
It's like those ripples of positive change,
Exactly.
spreading outward from just this one project.
It's a good reminder that even small things can have a big impact.
Absolutely.
Sometimes those most meaningful changes
Yeah.
start with something as simple as a path by the river.
So, dear listener, as you go about your day,
Hmm?
I encourage you to hold on to that thought, the Duck River Nature Trail. It's a testament to the power of vision,
Absolutely.
collaboration, and community engagement, and it's a reminder that we can create a better future one step at a time.
And sometimes those steps lead us along a beautiful path by the river.
Right here in our own backyard. And remember, Stage 2 needs your input right now.
Yes, get involved.
Make sure you check out the project details and make your voice heard.
Don't miss out.
The future of this trail is in many ways in your hands. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.